This video is brought to you by Pinshape, the online marketplace for free and premium 3D printable files. Pinshape, power to the designers.
And there. Hey everybody, it's Joe. Thanks for stopping by at the workbench again today. You know, I think almost every modern 3D printer owner has found themselves in this position, tool in their hand, bot taken apart, doing some upgrade or repair that they need to do. In my case today, I'm doing a little bit of both. The extruders on my assembly have jammed, and so I'm replacing those. But while I'm doing it, I'm doing a couple of upgrades that I've just kind of been putting off for far too long. You know, the thing is, this is just kind of the cost of having a 3D printer in your house. In order to get the price low enough that you could afford it, they kind of had to, well, I don't want to say cut corners, but they kind of had to cut corners or use processes that are slightly less efficient or going to fail over time. And so you're either going to have to replace something or change the process as you go. And that's just kind of a cost over time that is a part of owning a 3D printer. Unless you have a really well put together 3D printer that they're going to make you pay for over time with service contracts or overpriced chipped filament or something like that. And the thing is, it's really not so bad to take your bot apart and fix a few things and put it back together. It just takes a little time, but it's not that difficult, and it's kind of fun to do. The thing is, I can't tell you what upgrades you're going to need to do to your bot because every 3D printer is different. And so the best thing to do is for you to find forums or Google groups specific to your 3D printer and talk to the experts, the hobbyist experts who are there, and do everything they tell you to. That's what I've done, and it's paid off a lot on my 3D printer. Let me tell you what I've done and why I've done it. For one, I had to replace this entire extruder assembly that came with a new one, and that was because some of the key parts were starting to fail and I wanted to have something a little bit stronger. But today, I'm going to be taking the fans here, which were the first things that I replaced on this extruder assembly, and I'm going to be putting it here because these fans are non-bearing fans. They're going to fail over time. They're cheaper parts. These are bearing fans, a little bit more expensive, but they will last forever. And so I'm going to take the fans that I upgraded here, and I'm going to put them here. Another thing that I haven't done, but that's on my list to do, is I'm going to add a little bit of stabilization to the bar that moves the y-axis back and forth, because that lack of stabilization causes wiggles to appear in your print. As it has to turn corners quickly, it has a hard time stopping, and so while it's finishing its wiggle and it drags it across, it creates ripples. That's called corner ringing. And another thing that really helped the corner ringing was these little 3D printed plastic feet on here with foam underneath them that made the whole bot wiggle less. Another thing that I've heard helps is to weigh down your bot. Put weights in the bottom of your bot, literal just weights down there, so that it wiggles less. I haven't had to do that. And another thing that reduces corner ringing is to make your extruder assembly lighter. But unless I wanted to go with a Bowden assembly, I don't see that happening. Bowden moves these motors off of the extruder assembly and puts them in the back, but then you're relying on the whole strength of the feed to push the plastic in, which works, except that one of the upgrades I'm going to be doing today is to take a little piece of plastic, a little piece of PTFE tubing, and feed it up in here so that the plastic, as the tooth gear grabs it and pulls it in, has less of a gap to get the flexible filament caught in there, and you can't use flexible filament with a Bowden. So today I'm making my printer be able to do flexible filament. Also, I got to clean off these teeth. They are just gunked up. Got to get all the plastic out of there. Also, I replaced my heated build platform with one that uses magnetic glass plates. How cool is that? All I have to do is pull the glass plate off, put a new one on, and start the print while the old print cools and lifts itself off the build plate all by itself. It's absolutely fantastic. I recommend removable glass plates. Also, magnets are just cool. The Z-arms on my platform, the parts that hold the bed in place, they call them cantilever arms, were made out of ABS plastic. And that caused a problem because as the heat bed heated up, those arms expanded, and that caused the heat bed's level to be thrown off. So you had to level it while hot. But then if you're using PLA and you don't need the heated bed as hot, then you need to level it not as hot. It was just a pain in the neck. Replacing those with metal is a great idea. You know, the last thing is the electronics. The electronics on this bot are almost exactly stock, but I had to take one part and replace it. Actually, I had to send it out and have somebody replace the resistor on it, because that resistor was at some point going to blow, and when it did, it was going to take the entire board with it. So that was a little bit of a preemptive mod I did. Well, I say I did it. And actually, I have to thank the experts on the MakerBot user group who, one, told me what to do, and two, in some cases, did it or made it possible for me to do. Jet Guy fixed my electronics. Bottleworks created the metal arms and build plate that I have in my printer. These experts, thank you very much, have allowed my printer to print long beyond its life, and it's been fantastic to work with them, and I recommend that to you. Thank you guys for watching. Hey, Simon's down here, and he's here to remind you to like, subscribe, share, and enjoy. I hope that this video has inspired you to maybe learn a little bit more about owning a 3D printer, or just to make something cool. Thanks for watching.
For more information and 3D printable files from the workbench, visit PinShape. Link wherever links are found.